Everyone's telling you the same thing. Post more, be everywhere, stay consistent, do not give up. But here's the issue that most creators and entrepreneurs quietly face. Most of them burn out long before they break through. They are stuck on the content treadmill. They're stuck creating more while growing less. They're stuck posting daily but building nothing that lasts. I mean, this is not sustainable. It is not scalable. But here's the truth in my opinion. You do not need more content. You just need a brand that people remember and a system that helps you scale trust, not just visibility. A system that turns your ideas into momentum. So this video is about that system. We are going to talk about 9 AI agents that are designed to help you build a personal brand that actually converts, that actually books clients, and that scales you without burning you out. Listen, 5 years ago, I was that person. I had Notion calendars stacked with content plans and endless review cycles, and I was hiring freelancers to try and stay afloat, and I had loads of threads and feedback and more feedback, and I was trying to post everywhere every day. And I thought I was building a brand, but really I was just managing output. It was more of a production line than anything else, and for a while, let's just say it worked, kind of, because we were getting likes, we were getting comments, there was some engagement, but the truth is, I was drowning. The work was very much reactive. It was very exhausting. And after 18 months, after I just kept pushing until I finally stepped back and I quit the content treadmill and I doubled down on YouTube only. And that's when everything changed because I realized that it's not about being everywhere. It's about showing up strategically with a system that builds trust, not just traffic. So here's the stuff that no one's talking about. Regardless of your business, you are not just a creator anymore. You are a personal enterprise. Your personal brand is an appreciating asset. It is the business model of your ideas, essentially. And AI has made distribution probably easier than it has ever been because tools can write for you and post for you and even mimic your voice. AI can scale your voice, but only you can make that voice worth scaling. And for that, you need systems. But systems, those are still rare. And that is why most creators and entrepreneurs are stuck and trapped in the output mode, just like I was. Not underexposed, but underbuilt. Because you see, prompting 10, 20, 30 tools is like tweeting, but agent building is like founding. One disappears, but the other one builds equity. And if you want to build a brand that attracts clients and builds trust and lasts years, not weeks, you need that infrastructure. You don't need hacks or hustle. You need a system that is built around you. If you're serious about building a personal brand that actually drives business results and not just vanity metrics, then this free guide from HubSpot will be a total unlock. It is called the 30-Day Personal Brand Launchpad, and it is designed to help you go from I don't know where to start to fully launched in a month. It is not with volume, but with a system. Because the truth is, you do not need more posts. You need a brand that people remember and that people trust. This is especially true in a world where AI can help you scale your message. But clearly, you still need a message that is worth scaling. And this guide teaches you how to clarify that and how to turn it into momentum. It is perfect for founders, creators, or professionals who want to stop being a ghost expert and start becoming a top of mind in their space. And inside, you are going to find the MVP framework, which is not the minimum viable product, but the minimum viable personality. It's a strategy to help you package your story, even if you're not a creator. You will also find a 30-day roadmap broken into weeks with exact actions for content creation, platform choice, distribution, and growth. You're no longer guessing anymore. And also one of my favorite parts, which is the case study section, where you learn from real examples, like how Emily Sundberg turned a blog into the 7th highest grossing business newsletter on Substack. I highly recommend grabbing it. It is 100% free. So you can hit the link below to download the 30-day personal brand launchpad and start showing up in your niche like a pro. And also big thanks to HubSpot for sponsoring this video and making this resource available. So let's zoom out for a moment, because what you're really building here isn't just a brand, It's an infrastructure for trust. It's a system that earns attention and converts it. And I like to call that the anchor framework. It has 6 pillars that give you brand weight and clarity and momentum that actually compounds. And each one is going to help you move from posting more to building leverage. And the first pillar is about authority. Because people trust you when they can see that you have done the work and when your insights feel earned, not recycled. This doesn't mean shouting your credentials. It means showing proof of execution. It means winning in public, and it means client results and learnings from the field, Because At the end of the day, this builds trust through evidence, and it builds credibility through exposure and value through perspective. And it's not about ego, it's about proof. Show me the reps and I will trust the advice, Most people skip this and they go straight to content. But if there's no demonstrated track record, the words don't land. And we have seen that in our media agency. It is so much easier to grow when you have the receipts to prove, So you want to build proof that compounds trust. But here's what I see happening so often, as I said, with clients from our media company especially. Every founder, every coach, every creator has this moment, They have helped people, they have delivered massive results, but when it's time to show it, it's like none of it has ever happened, And you sit down to write a sales page or prep for a launch, and there were wins, amazing feedback, or life-changing shifts, or real outcomes. But the screenshots are buried in your inbox, or the quote that your client said on a Zoom call just got lost in time. So what happens is you are constantly trying to rebuild your credibility from scratch. You're rewriting sales pages without real proof. You're scrambling for testimonials right before launch. You're letting your biggest wins get buried in your inbox. And you're launching anyway with vague claims and empty headlines. And that's not because you're not good. You are fantastic. But it's because the proof of your value is scattered, and the system to capture it probably doesn't exist. The most trustworthy version of you already exists, but it is trapped in conversations that you've already had. So you need an agent, clearly. You don't need a chatbot or a prompt. You need a personal evidence engine. We call it the credibility agent. And here's how it works in real life. Basically, it pulls from places that you already live in. Your Zoom call transcripts, your client DMs and emails, your testimonial forms or surveys or audio messages, maybe even your internal Slack or team feedback or coaching notes. And then it extracts what actually matters. That's concrete results, standout quotes, things like "we doubled our MRR in 8 weeks" or "this changed my business in 2 weeks." And it captures emotional transformations like "I finally feel confident pitching myself." Your before and after stories as well. Things like "I was scattered and now I have a system," or I don't know, it depends on what your business is about. And then it classifies and organizes by what you want to show. Things like revenue wins or time saved or confidence gained or identity shifts. And it turns that all into content-ready assets like short-form case studies and sales page proof blocks or swipeable quote cards or narrative fuel for your carousels or your outreach. Basically, it builds your wall of proof. It's like a library of all of your results. And then you can even set it to tag your best moments automatically. I don't know, every week or every client touch points, every win. And this way, there is no more, "Do you mind writing me a testimonial?" There's no more scrambling for screenshots. You have a searchable proof system that updates itself. I actually recently asked my school community to share their wins, and the agent created this for me. Now look, trust is the conversion engine for your personal brand, and trust compounds faster when it is backed by proof. And this agent shifts your entire conversion posture. You will have proof-rich sales pages without the guessing. You will have outreach that shows results instead of describing the result. You'll have social media content that builds credibility, not just engagement. Launch decks and onboarding emails that are filled with transformations, and a private credibility vault. So you can imagine, instead of staring at a blank document, you open your wins vault and copy paste your most powerful proof instantly. It basically turns past success into future leverage without ever asking clients to write you a testimonial again. Obviously, you can ask them to confirm what they said, but it'll be a lot easier. So you stop trying to sell your audience. You show them what working with you actually creates and let that do the selling. Because in a world flooded with creators, the ones who win are the ones who can prove that they deliver. Now, pillar number 2 in our anchor framework is for narrative. Because the best personal brands are not built on facts, they are built on perspective. What makes you unique is not just what you say, it's how you say it. That inner worldview, your story, your scars, your frameworks, your vibe, becomes asymmetric leverage, your perspective, because people follow perspectives, they don't follow facts. So this pillar is made up of things like authenticity, so lived experience that you cannot fake. Inner leverage, ideas that emerge from hard-won lessons, or your vision, the signal that you send that others feel like they need to follow. And most importantly, it's not what you know, it's what you believe. because that's what people buy into. Listen, your narrative is the magnetic energy that draws your tribe, and you need to craft a story that's uniquely yours and that communicates leverage. That's why here we work with an agent that we call the voice codex, because we've seen it so many times. You evolve and you have new ideas and new distinctions and deeper clarity, but it's all scattered everywhere. You get a spark of insight on a walk, or you say something smart mid-Zoom call, or you go on a rant in a voice note to a friend, or I don't know, maybe you're like me, flooded with ideas every time I listen to a new Audible book. But where does everything go? Probably nowhere. At best, it lives in 15 different places, like a voice note, a message, some, I don't know, page in Notion, and so forth. But at worst, it just disappears. So when it's time to write your about page, or prep a keynote, or update your course, or create a new social post, you are back to square one. The blank page and no thread to follow, because you don't lack inspiration. You lack a system to capture it. And that's why you probably would find a lot of value in this agent, because the voice codex agent can become your thinking and brainstorming partner. It's a private chat style agent built to catch lightning in a bottle. So here's how it works in real life. And I actually asked my husband to build this when I realized that I cannot type notes while listening to books because I'm usually driving at that time. So what it does is it lets you talk naturally. You drop your ideas like, oh, I had this realization about why my clients stall after launch, or there is a metaphor that I've been using with students like attention debt, or here's what I believe no one is saying about this and that. And you're not writing, you're thinking out loud, and the agent is listening, and then it parses your thoughts into building blocks, insightful distinctions, contrarian tasks, repeated refrains or phrases that you use, or key metaphors or patterns or analogies, and then it organizes that into your personal narrative bricks. They can be categorized by theme or persona or use case. They can be searchable, remixable, ready to use, connected to your ideas from your old content or talks and things like that. Now, one thing that I also asked for my agent to do is to add context and citations, so you can link your raw ideas to market research or trends or even past testimonials. And this becomes your second brain, built not on tags or on folders, but what you actually think and say. Because narrative is not just about story, it's about a different type of leverage. It's the ability to articulate why your ideas matter. And with this agent running, you never start from zero. You need a homepage headline? Just pull a saved distinction. Or you need a metaphor for a podcast interview? Just grab a narrative break. Or you're writing a newsletter? You can start from a stored insight. Or you're clarifying your offer? Just pull some reframes straight from your past content. This is not ChatGPT as your writing assistant. It is you mirrored and organized and elevated with research, because the most magnetic creators are not the loud ones. They're the ones that are showing novel perspectives, and perspective compounds if you capture it the right way. Okay, now I want to move to the next agent for this pillar, because I've been there too. You've grown, but your brand story hasn't. You've shifted, you've evolved, you're serving a more advanced client. You're clear in your positioning and you have the receipts to prove it. But the outside world, they still see you as the launch coach or the productivity girl or the Canva guy. And it's not just outdated, but it's expensive. There's a lot of opportunity cost that you're losing there, because every misaligned message attracts the wrong audience and it repels the ones that you're ready for. Your evolution shouldn't be a secret. It should be the story that your brand tells by default. But rewriting your narrative feels like trying to rebrand yourself mid-flight, Where do you start and what do you keep and where do you cut? And I mean, it gets pretty exhausting. And that is exactly why we created an agent that we call the narrative strategist. So what this agent does is basically it's like having a brand strategist, a copywriter, and a creative director on call 24/7. So the way this one works in practice is that it connects the dots between where you've been and where you're going. And then it scans your past content that you give it access to, like your long-form videos or newsletters or podcasts, even DMs, or as I said, whatever you give it access to. Because you used to talk about, I don't know, let's say time freedom. And now you talk about team design. You've moved from productivity to performance, but your narrative hasn't. Well, this agent identifies the gap between your current perception and your future positioning. And then it suggests narrative upgrades that sound like you, but sharper. And it is able to propose things like fresh metaphors for what you do, or better positioning statements, or up-leveled bios, or signature phrases, or sticky hooks. Basically, this agent has copywriting and script writing training baked in. And when you give it a raw idea or an old post, then it'll show you multiple ways to package it for virality, emotional frames that resonate deeper, hooks and headlines and open loops, and script-ready versions for your short videos and outlines for your long form. It's not teaching like a textbook, it's giving you ideas of how to make your content sound more like edutainment than education. Because narrative is not about looking clever. It's about building resonance that in the end drive results. So this agent is able to give you a way to evolve your brand story without starting from scratch every single time. And it gives you messaging that magnetizes the right clients and filters out the wrong ones. It helps you have fresh angles that make you relevant again without reinventing yourself. And a system for knowing how your message lands and how to steer it next. There's no more staring at the ceiling trying to name your framework. This agent does the heavy lifting of your brand evolution. So you can step into the next level of your authority with words that match it. Pillar number 3. This is your C in the Anchor framework, and that stands for consistent distribution. If you don't share it, it doesn't exist. But here's the catch-22. Consistency doesn't mean chaos. It means systemized creativity, where your ideas multiply without burning you out. And we've learned that this pillar needs to blend strategy, so platform fit and timing and formats, with systems, so workflows that preserve energy and maximize output, and leverage, repurposing, batching, automation, that kind of stuff. Distribution is not a hamster wheel. It shouldn't be. It is a flywheel if it's built right. And it is how you turn one idea into 10 touch points that earn attention over time. But how do you keep showing up without burning out? Clearly, there's an agent for that. Because I know it. You've got ideas, but keeping up with content, that's a full-time job. I've told the story many times how it used to be, in my case, when I started. You post a really great thread on X and then it dies there. Or you film a YouTube video, but you never release it. And your newsletter, it's great, but it never turns into carousels or posts or shorts. Meanwhile, everyone's telling you, you need to be everywhere and you need to repurpose everything and you need to stay consistent. But how? You've got a business to run. You've got a team to lead. You've got a life to live. So instead of becoming known, you become exhausted. Your best ideas do not need more effort. They just need more leverage. And that is what this agent gives you. So what does this agent do in real life? Well, the content engine agent is like having an entire media team that is compressed into a workflow. And here's how it actually works in real world. It takes one core idea and formats it across every platform. You paste in, a long form idea, like a YouTube script or a voice note or a podcast transcript or a newsletter draft. And then the agent is able to pull 3 to 5 insights and to generate platform native formats like X posts and LinkedIn posts and Instagram captions and shorts hooks. And then it applies tone and structure rules for each platform. It inserts your call to action to match your funnel stage and things like that. So in the end, one insight becomes 10 to 15 assets, each one strategic, not spammy. So it learns your tone and it keeps your voice consistent, and you can train the agent on your past content and audience. And then it can mirror your phrasing and your pace and your sentence length. So it doesn't just write posts, it writes like you. Also, if you have already long form content, then it can help you parse that into shorter form content that you can then use to post on other platforms. And when you connect this one with the voice codex, then your ideas that you voiced 3 weeks ago, your insights from past DMs, and your little gems that you didn't even remember saying can become part of your inspiration for your content. Look, consistency is the cost of compounding, but it does not have to cost your peace. With this agent running, you can post daily without writing daily. You can stay visible without burning out. You can maintain a cross-platform presence without juggling platforms. And you can build a recognizable voice while doing less of the heavy lifting. And this is not just for creators. It is for founders, for experts, for coaches, for builders, because the job isn't to create more. It is to create more from what you've already created. I hope that makes sense, because that's how your ideas live longer and how your brand grows without growing your workload. Okay, pillar number 4 is the H in our Anchor framework, and that stands for human presence. AI can mimic output, but not emotional resonance. That still belongs to you, and it is very, very important. This pillar is about the parts of your brand that make people feel, not just learn, but trust. So here's what makes a brand human, in my opinion. Imperfection, because it leads to relatability, vulnerability, because it leads to connection, real-time reflection, because it leads to emotional resonance. You don't have to be hyper-polished. You have to be honest, truthful, and real. Because the moment that people stop feeling you, they also stop following you. AI can be the scale, but you are the soul. And I know AI can make you sound polished, but it can't make you sound real. You've seen it, posts that are grammatically perfect and emotionally flat, or scripts that hit all the right points but leave you cold. The more we automate, the more we crave the human. And we are nowadays in a world of sameness. What cuts through is you, your quirks, your lived experience, and your heart. So what this agent does is it rewrites robotic into relatable. So you can paste in your draft, your email, or your post, or your script, and then it gently transforms it. It adds warmth and honesty and vulnerability. It highlights your perspective and story. It can suggest why it matters and not just what happened. It can flag overused phrasing or cliche language. So this way, you can make it sound more like you. And the reason why you want to make sure that your content is human is because it builds connection, not just reach. And it turns insights into intimacy, and it makes every piece feel written by a person who has actually gone through it. Because people don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. I know lots of people know this saying, but here it is so true. So look, this is not about sounding soft. It is about sounding real and true. So this humanizer agent can help you show up as the version of you that your audience actually trusts, because connection is not optional. It really needs to be there. But here we have another agent that some of our clients in the media company have found really useful. So here's the problem. You can have the right message, but if your delivery misses, then it doesn't land. You have flat energy, you have rushed pacing, there's no emotional rhythm, and you feel it when you watch it back, or worse, your audience doesn't feel anything at all. This is not about putting on a performance, it is about presence. If your voice doesn't carry weight, then your words won't either. So we actually developed a speaking coach agent, which essentially turns raw takes into resonant delivery. So you can have it listen to you live, or you can upload your video or your audio, and then it can analyze your tone, your pacing. It can look at your emphasis and the flow that you have, and then it can tell you, here, you rushed the key insight a little bit. You need to slow it down. Or this part lacks emotion. Can you add a story or tension? Or it can say things like, oh, you lost energy near the end. Try ending on a punch, not a period. And what we've seen is that with this kind of agent, you will have more engaging content, more persuasive sales calls, stronger webinars, keynotes, or podcasts. Because again, it's not about being a performer. It's about amplifying your presence so that your ideas hit harder. Look, great communicators are not born. They are studied. They're refined. So an agent like this one can help you get there, not by making you sound like someone else, but by helping you sound like your better self. Now, pillar number 5, and that is owned channels. So O stands for owned channels, because you don't build your empire on rented land. We've seen it recently, actually. One algorithm tweak can wipe out your reach overnight. But when you own the relationship, the email, the text, the community, you own the business. And owned channels help you protect your audience from volatility, your income from platform shifts, and your message integrity. The more you own, the less you chase. So you want to build with distribution in mind, but also anchor your future in assets that you have control over. So here you could have an agent that is focused on owned audiences, because you've got followers, but no way to reach them directly. I've seen this so many times. A big audience on Instagram or LinkedIn, it feels like growth until the algorithm throttles your reach, until your post flops, or until you realize you don't own that relationship. Visibility is rented, but trust is built, and it's owned through direct connection. So what this agent actually does is it helps you shift from audience to asset. It starts by auditing your current platforms. Where do your people live? And where is the highest engagement? And where are you missing owned opportunities? And then it gets to work, because it is able to suggest list building assets like lead magnets or quizzes or short guides. It can write opt-in copy or landing page blurbs or email onboarding sequences. It can help segment your audience by interest and offer stage or funnel step, and it can propose content formats that are designed for conversion, not just likes. All of it, it's tailored to your tone, your goals, your brand voice, obviously. And then this way, You can turn viral moments into subscribers, but also nurture new leads automatically and grow your newsletter or your waitlist or your CRM with intention. This is the layer that we see many creators skipping, and it's where the long games live. Because when you own the relationship, you control the growth. Last but not least, pillar number 6 is about repeatable monetization, because likes are not leverage. Monetization is. If you are building a brand that converts, you need a path to capture that value. And this means having irresistible offers that people want and can understand, a system that nurtures and converts, not just blasts, and repeatable ways to deliver transformation. The most sustainable brands sell services, products, or IP. They systematize delivery and client success, and they create feedback loops between trust and revenue. Monetization isn't the end. It is actually the proof that what you're building works, and it helps others win as well. So here, I want to propose 2 agents, actually. One is about your offer building agent, because you've built the brand, but now people are asking, so how can I work with you? And you need an answer for that, right? So many times, that's only when it hits you that you don't have a scalable offer, or the one that you do have maybe feels too vague or bloated or underpriced, and you cannot just sell time for money. Time is limited. Most personal brands hit a ceiling here, not because they lack value, but because they lack clarity and direction. Because you have the insight and you have the proof and you have the audience, but without a productized way to deliver it, you are stuck doing custom work on custom terms at unpredictable prices. So an agent like this is able to help you translate trust into transactions without selling out. And it starts with who you serve. It maps your audience pain points. It matches with your skill set, your IP, your results, and then it identifies the highest leverage delivery model for you. Maybe it's a cohort, maybe it's async courses, maybe it's a group program, maybe it's one-to-one dives. And then from there, it co-builds your offer suite. Maybe you need help to draft your positioning lines or outlines your curriculum and delivery flow. Or maybe you need help in suggesting urgency levers like deadlines and bonuses and fast action tiers. Or you need pricing frameworks support. And once the offers are locked, then it can help you write sales copy or craft call scripts or DMs or generate upsell paths or waitlist nurture. This is a strategic partner that you will be working to build your conversion. Because you don't need a $2,000 course to monetize. You need a clear, valuable, and aligned offer. And this agent, the offer builder, gives you exactly that clarity fast. So you can turn your insight into income without the burnout. Now, speaking of courses, if you do decide to go after one, then consider having a course accountability buddy agent. Because many times we see that selling a course is one thing, but then getting people to finish it and actually get results, that's another thing altogether. Many times we see that both with our courses and other creators' courses. Somebody buys a course, they watch a few modules, and then they drop off. And it's not because the course is bad, but because life gets busy and motivation dips. And the truth is that most digital products lose 80% of their value to unfinished transformation. That's what breaks long-term monetization. You have low completion, that leads to low success stories, that leads to low trust, and then low referrals, and then there is just a vicious cycle. You need student wins. So with this type of course accountability buddy, you are able to keep your students moving so they actually finish and get results, if your platform allows for that. Because you can plug this directly into your course platform or through email and Notion, and then it goes to work. It can track engagement and see who's stuck and who's active and who disappeared after, module 2. And then it can send nudges at the right time, like friendly reminders or saying, hey, you're 60% there. Let's keep going, keep the momentum. And then obviously it can answer common questions like, what's the best tool for this? And where is the swipe file again? And can I skip this lesson? Things like that. And then it can also help celebrate progress, like completion badges and share your win kind of prompts and highlight worthy testimonials that are pulled automatically. This is kind of like a success coach that is powered by your content and builds their momentum. So with an agent like this, you would have higher completion rates, which leads to higher credibility. You would clearly have more testimonials, which means more trust and ultimately more sales. You would have a better customer experience, which leads to higher lifetime value. So your brand can grow faster with your students as well. All right, this was a long one. Thank you so much if you're still there. I really hope this video was valuable. I hope you found some really interesting insights that you are going to apply yourself. Like this video if you did, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so, and also share it with anyone in your circle of friends or family who you think could benefit from insights that I shared today. Also, if you want to take this one step further, make sure you come and join us in our free school community. The link is here. We have so much fun in there. We have over 10,000 people at the moment. We have twice a month calls where we get together and we share insights and learnings and we answer questions. There is a new challenge to, pull up the sleeves and actually apply and implement AI either in your existing business or in a new one. We do that again twice a month, and there's just a lot of fun and a lot of prizes and awards, and you would have so much not just to learn but also to experience in that community. So I really hope to see you on the other side, and until next time, go ahead and watch this video over here. See you soon.